Well, speaking of fun, Shay, let's kick it on down next to Starkville real quick where, hey, we've been saying it for weeks on end here, but Will Rogers, starting quarterback in our book, QB1 there for the Mississippi State Bulldogs after what we saw from him as a true freshman. And he was one of those guys that was hit with the COVID protocol. So even during training camp, he was not available. So I think that once you put that into perspective, maybe you appreciate a little bit more what he did on the field last season in his first year in college football. Mm-hmm. Now going into year two, Mike Leach says, again, he's keeping it coy. He's making his quarterback earn everything here, but he says that's going to be our guy. And he was asked about year two at Texas Tech and at Washington State, how the offenses got so much better, and does he anticipate that happening at Mississippi State? Let's kick it over to the Pirate.
Have you decided on a starting quarterback at this point yet?
If we were to play today, it would be Will.
What's maybe he done to separate himself from the other quarterbacks?
Consistency, I'd say, would be the biggest thing, because I think as far as just throwing the ball, they all do a pretty good job of that, and then they have various other physical attributes, but he's a very committed guy as far as watching film, and has thrown with these guys more than anybody else, although it really hasn't been as much as, once you get a really established situation. He provides more consistency.
Is there still time, like in the next week and a half, for that to change, or is Will pretty much locked in?
It's hard to tell. Difficult to say. We'll see.
Coach, you obviously, looking at the scrimmage, it seemed like the offensive line, at least the starting five, and a couple of rotation guys are kind of set going into the season. What have you seen from that group, and any guys in particular caught your attention?
I think they're better. I think they're definitely better. I think they're playing together better. I think that, I think collectively they have a higher sense of urgency. They're still a very young offensive line, but I think some are drawing on the experience they got last year. And then we got some pretty good reinforcements. And then, we're not great there, but we're a work in progress, but we're getting better. And so I do think they've made steady progress. I think we have probably 7 we could play with right now.
Whether it be Texas Tech or Washington State, wherever you were, your offense has made a big jump from year one to year two. Do you think that was mostly a result of just repetition? Do you see a bit of that from your team this offseason?
I think it's repetition. I think it's timing. I think people get used to being where they're supposed to be, with more consistency. Then I think the quarterback identifies it, and then it all kind of works together. If you run 5 routes, I think if you do it with precision, everybody's in the right place. It makes it sharper, makes it harder to cover, makes it more sudden as far as getting the ball to somebody. And then, of course, you got to protect up front, and that's the most important position on the field is the O-line. So, yes, I do think it definitely helps.
All right, Shane. So if nothing else, man, I think Mississippi State fans got to get fired up for this because, it's that year 2 bump, man, and it's not just the overall system, it's the quarterback. Like I said, going into his second year ever at college football, and if that Mississippi State offense starts humming, they're going to be a very dangerous team this fall.
Absolutely, man. Don't get me wrong. I love the Pirate. I love his message, and I love everything he's done and keeps doing, even outside of football itself. It's just he seems like he's really embraced Starkville, and they've embraced him down there. But going into year 2, Mike, I don't like the uncertainty at my quarterback. I understand what the Pirates doing here, but he's like, hey, yeah, Will Rogers is definitely our guy, but he may not be by the end of the game. It's like I want to, because if you're going to have a year 2 bump, I want my coach saying, hell yeah, this is my guy, and we're going to ride and die with him.
No, you make a good point there, and that's something that our next coach, he's already